My dad gave my home to my sister. They forgot to ask who the owner was, and what I discovered in the property records destroyed our family forever. My name is Jake Marshall. I'm 35 years old, and this is the story of how my father tried to give away my house to my sister without asking, and how stopping him cost me my family, but saved everything I'd built. I live in Denver, Colorado. 3 years ago, I bought a fixer-upper in the suburbs for $180,000. It was a disaster. Leaking roof, outdated kitchen, bathrooms from the 1970s. But I'm a civil engineer. I know construction. I knew I could turn it into something beautiful. I spent 2 years renovating that house with my own hands. New roof, gutted kitchen with custom cabinets I built myself, refinished hardwood floors, modern bathrooms, every weekend, every evening after work. My girlfriend Emma helped me paint, tile, landscape the yard. By the time we finished, the house was worth $420,000. We'd turned a wreck into a home. My dad never visited during those 2 years. Always too busy. But my younger sister Monica, she never visited either. Monica was Dad's favorite, always had been. Spoiled since childhood, married to a wealthy real estate developer named Richard. That Friday in October changed everything. I came home from work around 6. Dad's car was in my driveway. That was weird. He'd never just shown up before. I walked inside and found Dad and Monica in my living room. Monica was taking photos on her phone. Dad was measuring the walls with a tape measure. "What are you doing?" I asked, confused. Dad turned around, smiling. "Jake, good, you're home. Monica and Richard are getting divorced. Monica needs a place to stay with the kids. I told her she could have this house." I stood there, frozen, sure I'd misheard. "What?" I said. "This house has 3 bedrooms," Dad continued like he was discussing the weather. "Perfect for Monica and her 2 kids. You and Emma can find an apartment. You're young, flexible." Monica looked up from her phone. "Thanks for keeping it so nice for me, Jake. I love what you did with the kitchen." My heart was pounding. This is my house. Dad waved his hand dismissively. "I helped with your down payment years ago, remember? Consider it paid back. Family helps family." "You never helped with my down payment," I said, my voice rising. "I bought this house with my own savings and the inheritance from Mom's side of the family." Dad's face hardened. "Don't lie to me, Jake. I remember giving you money for this place." "You didn't! I can show you my bank records." "Enough," Dad cut me off. "Monica needs this house more than you do. She's got 2 kids. She's going through a divorce. Stop being selfish." Monica was already planning out loud. "I'll put the kids' beds in those 2 bedrooms. I'll need to repaint. Maybe a nice beige instead of this gray." "Get out," I said, my voice shaking. "Both of you. This is my house. Get out." Dad's expression turned cold. "If you fight Monica on this, you're out of the family. I mean it, Jake." "Then I guess I'm out," I said. Dad and Monica left. Emma came home 20 minutes later and found me sitting on the couch, staring at nothing. "What happened?" she asked. I told her everything. "They can't just take your house," Emma said, furious. "That's insane! It's legally yours!" "I know," I said, "but I need to check something." The next morning, I went to the Denver County Recorder's office. I pulled up my property records. The deed showed the house had been sold to Jacob Marshall 3 years ago. That was correct. But there was something else. A quitclaim deed filed 6 months ago, transferring ownership from Jacob Marshall to Franklin Marshall, my father's name. I'd never signed a quitclaim deed. I'd never transferred ownership to anyone. This was fraud. My hands were shaking as I requested copies of all the documents. The quitclaim deed had a signature that looked like mine, but it wasn't. Someone had forged it. I called a lawyer that afternoon. Rebecca Torres agreed to see me Monday morning. Sunday night, Monica called. "Jake, I'm moving in next weekend," she said cheerfully. "Can you have your stuff out by Friday?" "You're not moving into my house, Monica." "Dad said—" "I don't care what Dad said. Check the property records. Someone forged my signature on a quitclaim deed. I'm hiring a lawyer." Silence. "Jake, don't do this," Monica said, her voice changing. "I need this house. Richard's going to screw me in the divorce. I'll have nothing. That's not my problem. Please, I'm your sister. I have kids. You should have thought about that before you tried to steal my house." I hung up. Monday morning, I met with Rebecca in her office downtown. "This is a clear forgery," Rebecca said, examining the quitclaim deed. "The signature doesn't match your other legal documents. We can prove this easily." "How did this even get filed?" I asked. Rebecca made some calls. An hour later, she had an answer. "Your brother-in-law Richard is a real estate developer, right?" "Yeah." "He has connections at the county recorder's office. One of his associates processed this deed. It was filed quietly, no flags raised. This was deliberate, Jake. Richard forged your signature, transferred the house to your father, planning for your father to gift it to Monica in the divorce settlement." I felt sick. "So Richard doesn't have to split assets with Monica. She gets my house instead." "Exactly. It's fraud, forgery, and conspiracy." "What do we do?" "We file an emergency motion to clear the title and get an injunction preventing anyone from occupying the property. Then we go after Richard criminally." I called my dad that night. "Dad, I know what happened. Richard forged my signature. He filed a fake quitclaim deed. I have proof." "That's ridiculous," Dad said. "Why would Richard do that?" "To protect his assets in the divorce. He gave Monica my house so he doesn't have to give her anything of his." "You're being paranoid." "I have the documents, Dad. I have a lawyer. The signature is forged." "I don't believe you." "Then go look at the county records yourself." "No," Dad said firmly. "I believe Monica and Richard. You're just mad that I'm helping your sister. You always were jealous of her." "I'm not jealous. Someone committed fraud." "If you sue your sister, you're dead to me, Jake. I mean it." "Then I'm dead to you." I hung up. The next day, Rebecca filed our motion. The judge reviewed the evidence. The forged signature was obvious once compared to my real signature on my driver's license, passport, and mortgage documents. The judge granted an emergency injunction. Monica had to vacate the property immediately. Monica called me, screaming. "You're kicking me and my kids onto the street? You tried to steal my house. Dad gave it to me. Dad doesn't own it. I do. He never owned it. Richard forged documents. You're lying." The call ended with her sobbing. Dad called 10 minutes later. "You're suing your own sister. You're putting her children on the street. I have no son." "Good," I said, and hung up. The court case took 3 months. A forensic document examiner testified that the quitclaim deed signature was definitely forged. Phone records showed calls between Richard and the county recorder's office employee right before the deed was filed. Emails between Monica and Richard proved Monica knew about the scheme. Richard was charged with forgery, fraud, and conspiracy. He took a plea deal. No jail time, but $50,000 in fines and restitution. The judge ruled in my favor. The fraudulent deed was voided. My ownership was confirmed. Monica was permanently evicted. I was awarded $45,000 to cover my legal fees and damages. Dad showed up at my house the day after the verdict. I opened the door. He looked 10 years older. "I didn't know," Dad said quietly. "Monica told me you'd agreed to give her the house. Richard told me the paperwork was legitimate. I believed them." "You believed them over me," I said, "without even asking me." "I'm sorry." "You threatened to disown me for defending what was mine." "I was wrong." "You gave away my house, a house you'd never even visited, without asking if I actually owned it." Dad's eyes filled with tears. "I've always favored Monica. I know that. I thought she needed me more. I thought you were strong enough to handle yourself. I was wrong about everything." "Yeah," I said, "you were. Can you forgive me?" I looked at this man who'd raised me, who'd chosen my sister over me at every turn, who'd believed the worst of me without question. "No," I said. "Some things can't be undone. You didn't just give away my house. You showed me that 35 years of being your son meant nothing when Monica wanted something. Jake, please. Goodbye, Dad." I closed the door. 6 months passed. Emma and I got engaged. We planned a small wedding at our house, the house I'd built, the house I'd fought for. Dad wasn't invited. Monica's divorce finalized. Richard had hidden most of his assets. She got almost nothing, including my house, which had never been hers to begin with. Monica sent me an email. "I'm sorry. I was desperate. Richard manipulated me. I made terrible choices. Can we talk?" I deleted it without responding. Dad sent a letter. "I failed you as a father. I let favoritism blind me to the truth. I let Monica's needs eclipse your rights. I chose wrong. I'm sorry." I kept the letter in a drawer, didn't respond. A year later, Emma and I got married in our backyard. My college friends came. Emma's family came. My mom's side of the family came. Dad and Monica weren't there. Sometimes Emma asks if I'll ever reconcile with them. Maybe someday, I say, but I don't mean it. The truth is, they showed me who they were. Dad showed me that his love came with conditions. Monica showed me that family meant nothing when she wanted something. I'd spent 2 years building that house with my own hands. Every nail, every board, every tile. They tried to take it without asking if it was even theirs to give. And when I fought back, they called me selfish. I look at that house now. Emma's flowers in the garden, the deck I built, the kitchen where we cook dinner every night. And I feel peace. Not because I won, because I learned. Here's what I learned from this experience. Love is not the same as ownership. My father loved me in his way, but he felt he owned my choices, my property, my future. He assumed that because he was my father, he could decide what I did or didn't need. And when I said no, when I defended what I'd built, he chose my sister's desires over my rights. That's not love. That's control. Family doesn't mean you're entitled to what someone else worked for. It doesn't mean you get to make decisions about their life without asking. And it doesn't mean forgiveness is mandatory when someone betrays your trust. I spent 2 years building that house. My father spent 2 minutes deciding to give it away. When someone shows you they don't respect your boundaries, your work, or your word, believe them, even if they're family, especially if they're family. Because the people who should protect what you've built are often the first ones to assume they can take it. I chose my house. I chose my peace. And I'd make that choice again. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Share your thoughts about family boundaries and protecting what you build. And subscribe for more stories about standing your ground when the people who should support you try to take everything you've worked for.